Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lifestyle CEO Show. I'm your host, Donna Maria from donnamaria.com, and I'm so excited that you're here. This is just going to be such an amazing hour. Now, for those of you who were looking for me this morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific, I apologize. I had a little technical difficulty, which I'll describe to you another time. But what I want you to know about that technical difficulty is it's just life. And we're lifestyle CEOs, so we just plow right on through it. We actually did a whole entire show without broadcasting it to Facebook. So we are back for round 2. So you can even get better stuff this time because we had a rehearsal this week. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here. This is the place where we empower you to enjoy your life, build your business, and have your way. And my guest today, this is my first guest. This is my 11th show, and this is my first guest. And her name is Jennifer Waller, and she's the founder and CEO at Celtic Complexion. And we're going to have a great discussion today about the 5 F's of the Lifestyle CEO lifestyle. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Donna Marie. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you as well. So let's just start, by way of background so people can kind of get an idea of who you are and warm us up to you a little bit and tell us where you are and a little bit about your business life background.
Well, I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, originally from Miami, lived all over the, West Coast, mostly of the United States. I started working behind the counter for Estee Lauder when I was 17, decided that's what I wanted to do with my life. And that had always been a dream. And I just kept pushing towards it. And about 10 years now ago, I formed the company officially, and I've been there ever since. And I absolutely love it. I love the freedom that it gives me. It does come with ups and downs, as you know, but it just kind of taken me on this ride that I never thought that I could expect, especially at this age, because I had a kind of a preconceived notion of what a CEO was, or even what a business was for that matter. But I make hand-blended skincare for people that have very sensitive or rosacea-prone skin.
Okay, and by the way, while we're on that topic, let me just show you here. And I don't have that type of skin, but I still love this product. Let me just tell you. This is Jennifer's signature product. It's called the Celtic Jewel. You can see the word jewel right there on the jar. And look how pretty this is. A nice gold container with a beautiful topaz at the top there. So pretty, so feminine. When you open it up, there's a little tab in there to protect the product. I don't have the tab in right now because I've just been using it all the time. So you can see it's nice and creamy. And this is just a wonderful product for your face. And Jennifer created it. Like, she created the brand. She created the formula for the product. She sourced all the packaging herself because she's a member of the Indie Business Network. And I remember, Jennifer, when you were sourcing this packaging and you were showing us where you got the jars and where you got everything. I mean, she just figured this out on her own from start to finish. And that's one of the many things that's so inspiring about her. So Jennifer, bring us forward. You started with the Celtic Complexion 7 years ago, but now you've been able to expand and include other things to build more brands and expand your revenue opportunities. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, in 2016 was kind of a crazy year politically. And I think all of us were not feeling so good about the things that were going on politically and just out there. And I kind of had the feeling that I wanted to go in and create beauty just to get my mind off it, almost like a meditation. So I turned my TV off. I kind of disconnected a lot from Facebook because I didn't want to see the negativity, and I just started making beauty. And my garage got very overfilled with a lot of crafts that I made. So my husband said, "You're going to have a sale, Jennifer, or you're going to have to do something with all of these things that you're making." I was making crystal wind chimes and solar chandeliers and just, beautiful things. And it was a photographer friend of mine who said, "You should really rent out your space to women on Airbnb." And I thought she was crazy. And it took a while for me to convince Mr. Celtic Complexion to go for it. But I did. I kind of just stumbled upon it. And now I get to work every week with creative people. Mostly photographers run our space, actually, because we have dedicated sets here that I love to do makeup and to do hair and to style. So I have so much fun doing it. It feels like I am getting paid to play dress up and play with other kids.
So listen, you guys, what Jennifer did was she started a business. Like it all started with one business, with one brand. And she did that, and she's still doing that. And now she has created something that is complementary to that, that complements her life, helps her enjoy the lifestyle that she wants to have. And she's a CEO as well. She's a lifestyle CEO, guys. I just love this. So Jennifer, when you think about the 5 F's, right, which we know are finances, family, flexibility, freedom, and fun. So let's focus on that and help everyone understand how you put those things together to create what you have, not just in your business, but also in your life. And I have to say, like, not just in your life, but also in your business, because we have to find that sweet spot where we can have the passions that we enjoy and the need to feed ourselves and to, go on vacation and, invest money in things that are important to us. We have to find the overlap there. How did you find that? And how do you continuously find that as you refine Celtic Complexion and start something new, which, by the way, you guys, is called Glamper's Paradise, and it's on Airbnb, and you can go and visit there and rent the space for the night. How do you put those things together, Jennifer?
Well, with Celtic Complexion, it was more calculated because I knew I wanted to start a business. So I wrote a business plan, and having been in the retail cosmetic, the prestige cosmetic industry for so long, I knew what I wanted and I knew what I didn't want. I knew I didn't want a store. I knew I didn't want to be beholden to employees. I knew I didn't want to pay rent on a brick and mortar. That's just my lifestyle. I wanted more freedom. When I segued into, and actually I had an angel investor. That's how I started Celtic Complexion, because a friend of mine had heard me talk about Celtic Complexion because it was in my head. I would doodle it everywhere. I would have, marketing things written in spiral notebooks. It was not this official, typed out thing. And he said to me, why don't you just do it already? And I was really scared. I said, well, because I don't have the money. And he said, well, don't let lack of money stop you. He said, there's plenty of money in the world. There's not a lot of great ideas. So he wrote me a check for $10,000, and that's how I actually started, which sounds like a lot of money, but actually, I think I spent that much money in labels alone in packaging, but that was the start of Celtic Complexion. Then, of course, when my husband came on board, he invested with the company, and he's my business partner now, and he brought to Celtic Complexion all the things that I didn't know how to do. So we complement each other nice, because he does the things I don't like to do and I'm not good at it, and vice versa. But with Glamper's Paradise, it was really, the end goal was not money with Glamper's Paradise. It was to have fun, basically to have fun. How can I get paid to wear a maxi dress and statement necklace and decorate parasols is how that kind of fell in my lap. And right now it's showing a revenue. It's anywhere on, I just started doing this, and it's an extra $500 to $1,000 a month with me doing nothing but posting pretty pictures on Instagram. Yeah, that's it basically. So I'm not even going to, I'm the marketer in me would say, okay, I need a website. I need to do this. I need to do that. But you know what? I'm pumping the brakes on this one and just letting things come organically, because honestly, everything that comes in is just extra. It's just, it's not that I have to rely on that income for things.
So let's talk about that for a second, Jennifer. First of all, I love your angel investors quote. There's a whole lot of money in the world, but not a lot of good ideas. And then even fewer people who are willing to invest and execute their ideas, which I'm sure he saw that in you, which is why he ponied up the cash. But so talk a little bit, if you would, about how do you insulate yourself? This is a good word. How do you insulate yourself, Jennifer, from all of the CEOs in the world, and really accomplished women, like amazing women, and men too, but we're talking mostly about women here, who are positioned for success in our economy and in our world, and they are recognized for their amazing success. 100 employees employed in their communities, multiple millions of dollars of revenues every year. Kudos to them. So excited for them. But do you ever feel like when you look at all that your business is in a different league? It doesn't count. I mean, do you struggle with that at all?
I did in the beginning with Celtic Complexion, because again, I came from retail cosmetics. So I was used to selling $5,000 on a weekend when I worked for Lancôme or Estée Lauder. And it's very easy to get caught up in that whole racket. Like I need to, that whole mindset of I have to see my product in style. I have to see it in Vogue. A certain celebrity has to wear it. And you realize that it's kind of all in your head, and it puts in puts a number on your head, I think, and it limits your creativity because you're trying to merge your car into this lane. Well, guess what? My car does not fit in that lane, so I stay in my own lane. I don't now. I think I told you earlier when we were talking that I turn everything off now. I don't follow any other makeup artists. I don't follow any other brands, just because it's less time that I'm concentrating on my own brand. I don't feel like. I really honestly don't feel like we do have competition in whatever we do. And you say this so eloquently when you say there's only one you. They can steal your jar, they can steal your font, they can steal whatever, but they're not going to steal the essence of who you are. And people like to shop and be with other people that are of the same mindset. So people can imitate you very well, but they're not you. So I don't worry about it anymore at all. I just kind of create my own hat, my own space, and stay in my own lane and have fun here. Life is short to be worried about what other people are doing.
Yeah, and that makes me think of another thing. There's this word called scale, scale, which I love that word for a variety of reasons. I'm not talking about fish, like scaling fish, but I'm talking about and let me give you an example. I was listening to a podcast of a person who has built a business around himself, like everything revolves around him. It's him over here hosting this. It's him over here at this event. It's him writing books. It's him doing the association that he started. It's him. It was so funny because in the middle of the podcast, his guest was explaining how he grew his business. And his guest said, well, you know what? I didn't want the whole business to be built around me because you can't scale yourself.
Right.
And I was screaming in my bathroom. I was like, yes, you can. Like you're literally talking to someone who scaled himself because with technology, you can. So I came up with this word that morning. It's called scalish. Like, I'm scaling, but I'm not scaling the way you think I'm scaling. I'm scalish. So I want to hear like your comments on that, because when you do talk about people can't duplicate you, and that's true, then some people think that means that you can't grow a business. You can never be profitable because everything revolves around you. And I'm not going to say this guy's name, but I'm talking multiple millions because he worked it right. He worked it right and he stayed in his lane. What are your thoughts on that? Well,
I see the point. And of course, every marketing book that you read will talk to you about scaling. And it's the reason why they recommend you never should, name your company after yourself, because once you're, out of the picture, people will not be shopping with you. But as far as scaling applies to my business, there's a reason why I don't wholesale. There's a reason why I'm not in retail. There's a reason why I only want to have a small business, and we do just over 6 figures a year. I mean, we're not a multi-million-dollar company, but it's so I can have an interaction with the guest one-on-one, because that's what feeds me. And some people think that I'm crazy, but as long, when you're not appearing in Oprah magazine, you don't have to worry about scaling up to 500,000 units. When you're not on QVC, you're not having to worry to scale up to, again, 500,000 units. I think about scaling as in terms of my time and how much I'm getting back out of, you give when you have a company and you also get back. So it's got to be reciprocal in order for me to be happy. So like with the Airbnb, I'm not on all the time. I don't make myself available for 30 days out of the month, because then it wouldn't be fun. To me, it's fun to do it 2 weekends out of the month and call it a day.
Well, and that's one of our F's too, right? The fun part, the finances, the freedom, the flexibility, the fun, and the family. So, and again, I just want to encourage everyone to define scale however you want to define it. Like if you want to be on Home Shopping, QVC, whatever it is, if you want to be in Oprah, there is nothing wrong with that. But I don't want people to lose sight of what they're also giving up as they get those things, because you are going to have to exchange some things for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I also want people to know that there's nothing wrong with not doing that. Like there's nothing wrong with, and 6 figures, it's like
from my kitchen.
So, right?
On this kitchen right here, that never
in a paradise, right? In Glamper's paradise, right? And so, so just, I want to encourage you to think about what you want your life to look like, as Jennifer has. And she really dug deeply down inside of herself, and she's very self-aware. And this is a really big part of being able to do this, right, Jennifer? You have to be aware of who you are and what matters to you, so that you can then build the business around that.
Definitely. And you have to be selfish. And I think the word selfish gets a bad rap, but if you're not selfish as a woman, I mean, there's the saying, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And I think I see a lot in my, with Celtic complexion, because I deal with, anti-aging and, how do I look younger, blah, blah, blah. Well, nothing will age you faster than being unhappy or being stressed out. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the time to use it and enjoy it, what are you doing?
Nothing will age you faster than being unhappy.
Yeah.
I so completely and totally love that. So Jennifer, let's talk a little bit about your family situation. Sure. I know you said you were married and you have a support team around you. How do you handle like the day-to-day things that need to be taken care of to manage your business?
I'm laughing because I could give you the PC answer, but I'm actually going to give you the real answer because, as you know, Donna, Maria, I work with my husband, Steve, who was my high school sweetheart. And when I re-met him, I should say, because I hadn't seen him since 1985, and then I reconnected with him again in 2013. And he had his own business that was successful. And I had to learn to let go of the reins and realize there's more than one way to skin a cat, because I had been doing things a certain way. I thought that was the right way. But when I was able to let go and let him, show me what he was good at and capable at, things work better. Now, what we've also discovered is that we work better with separate offices because we just work differently. So having to merge a marriage with a business can be challenging, but my parents did it, so I saw them do it. I'm lucky enough to live close with my mom, and she has a lot of input. She's one of my biggest supporters. And having now a stepson, a teenager at that, was I told you earlier, was the hardest thing I've ever had to navigate, basically, because as you know, kids don't come with manuals. And I was used to getting the accolades from customers, like you do something good and then you get something back. Well, with kids, that's not at all how it works. So that was been my challenge and my biggest growth area, to say, that's challenging me. Now, how do I, incorporate into a big old life lesson?
I thought you do things good for kids and you get something back.
Yeah.
You eventually do, but not quite yet.
It's not instant. It's not instant
right.
gratification.
Well, and what great training that is for entrepreneurship, right? Mm-hmm. Because these days, and always in entrepreneurship, but I think even more so now, people are expecting instant gratification. Mm-hmm. Like you're expecting, well, I just bought the Facebook ad. Why aren't people buying my stuff? My stuff is awesome. My product photos are beautiful. My website's mm-hmm. lovely. Where are the people? And I'm like, but you just started like a year ago.
Yeah, it's kind of like when, I'm liking that too, when a guy takes you out on a date, does he expect to sleep with you on the first date? It doesn't work like that. You got to build a relationship, and it's the same thing with business. I think the most successful people in this business are persistent, and they're consistent, and they're like the turtle that wins the race.
That's such a good analogy, that the guy taking you out on the date. You're like full of all these great little analogies. I have to write them all down, make sure I include them in the blog post when I put it up. But that's so true. But I think what we see, because there's so much of it out there, I think the people that a lot of times, not all, but frequently, who teach people how to be successful in business, make it seem like, well, take this course mm-hmm. And you will be able to be like me. Well, of course, they've been in business for 15 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so the logic that I want people to think about is, okay, so if it took you 15 years to get here, mm-hmm. then I'm not going to be able to do this overnight. I'm not saying don't take the class. I'm just saying don't expect it to be the panacea and to work for you. And the other thing today, Jennifer, I think that's so important to remember is that the technology that they built their platform on is different from mm-hmm. the technology that they're teaching you. And it's different from the technology that you're going to have to deal with next year. It's
different than it was last year. Yeah. Things are happening so much. But what doesn't change is that connection with the customer. Yeah. When you make that connection, like you always talk about this and write about it, is that newsletter, that old newsletter that I've been writing forever is my biggest and best connection with my customers, and it's never going to stop. And it's where they get to know me a little bit, and it trumps anything else as far as social media goes for business.
It does, and they get to know you a lot. Mm-hmm. I can tell you, the first thing I did when I started my business almost 20 years ago was a newsletter. Mm-hmm. It's the first thing I did. And of course, there wasn't anything else to do back then, right? So it was easy for me. But I think what happens now is people start and they go, well, I can do this and I can do this. And there's a YouTube and Instagram and Pinterest and I need a board and I need a thing. And I'm like, but newsletter, like it's free. Like it's free, and you can talk to your customers one-on-one. And isn't it amazing, Jennifer, that the more bells and whistles there are, the more we realize that just like in life, the success is all about the relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I still have my old books. I mean, when I first started, when I first started in retail cosmetics, we had these, they were called client books, and you'd handwrite all the information and you'd write what they wrote all by hand. And when I first started Celtic Complexion, that's what I did. I wrote everything by hand. I'm not technical savvy, which Mr. Celtic Complexion will confirm. And I somehow like that. I like that I can, I'm kind of analog. I'm an analog kind of girl myself. But it's the connection. It's the handwritten note that they remember. It's not the autoresponder emails that they remember.
Right, but here you are. You're analog. But here's the beautiful thing about that. Okay, you're analog, but you've also figured out how to incorporate technology into your business and your lifestyle enough to get results, but not so much that it overwhelms the whole entire process and takes all the fun out of it. Absolutely.
You got to have fun. Like with social media, you talk about this all the time. Like pick one that you're going to master. That's it. I mean, pick one where your customers are at. I kicked and screamed going into Instagram because I kept thinking, what the hell are they going to want to see about me every single day? Like I can only post about rose oil for so long before I think people will get bored. But then I realized, again, I was following what other people were doing, or what Estee Lauder was doing or whatnot. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make this about my fun lifestyle. That's it. And I rarely post about actually the product, and people are attracted more to our brand because of me and the lifestyle that I'm revealing basically. And the same thing with Instagram. With Glamper's Paradise, it's 10 times that way because it's not a product, it's an experience.
Yes, well, it's all an experience too. I mean, the Celtic Complexion is definitely a product, but it's also an experience. Because I can't tell you, every time I put this on, I'm so proud of myself, first of all, because I don't have time. Like, I just, and I know we should take care of our skin and everything. The Indie Business Network, where like 90% of my members make beauty products. But honestly, I'm on the move so much. The dog, the kids, everything going here and there, and I got a bag full of makeup and all the stuff and everything. I have it with me. I have it right here with me just in case, but I'm just not really good at using it. But I'm so proud of myself when I use this, because I'm like, I'm taking care of myself now. It feels so good to be able to do that. So it is an experience. And honestly, I do believe that women, when they use that product and other products that I've used in you as well, we remember the good experiences that we've already seen on your Instagram and whatnot, and we're holding little pieces of that beauty and that lifestyle in our hands in our own homes. That's an experience as well.
It is, and I hope that women, and I say women, men use our products too, but I'm going to use women here. I think if women can take away anything that I teach, it's not about the juice in the jar. The juice in the jar is great, but there's a lot of great products out there with a good juice in the jar. I hope that my underlying message is, be happy, do what you want. Things of that nature have far more of an impact on what you look like and how you present to the world than what you're putting on your face, which is, I think, why I kind of segued it. I'm not so much interested in makeovers per se as I defined them 20 years ago, where, let me get the perfect brow on you and it'll change your life. Well, that lasts for all of the 2 hours that you wear it. But when you start working on the happiness inside, it just kind of overflows, and it really doesn't matter what you're using. And if you think you're the only one that doesn't wash your face at night, you're not.
I'm not the only one.
No.
Oh my goodness. It's so funny because I just had a conversation with my son about, my son is 14, and washing anything is a challenge. Like, he's 14, so he doesn't have time either because he has such a busy life. But we all, but finding, as you said, that thing inside of you that lights you up, and being able to combine that with exactly the clarity about what you want your life to look like. I really think that's the missing piece for entrepreneurs today, because didn't we just have somebody in the group, in the Indie Business Network, our community, was talking about being in business for a couple of years and was stopping. Like
Yes.
literally like 3 days ago, they posted a request for comments about their new logo.
Yes.
And literally 72 hours later, I'm closing my business. I'm starting a brand new business doing this. And again, nothing wrong with that because we're all on an evolutionary path. But the idea is, wow, that was like what happened. That was
I'm so happy. That was Roland with Butter Angels. And I'm so happy that she did that because
yes,
she even commented, she said, as soon as I said it out loud, everything just lit up and I was light. And, you know, we talked about this earlier. I have a lot of friends that are making great livings and financially they would be considered a success.
Right.
You know what? They're so stressed out and they're so beholden to the man and really missing out on what life is for. And the whole reason I think we work for money is, of course, to pay bills, but it's to have the kind of freedom to have the experiences that you want. And I'll be the first to tell you that it doesn't take $1 million to do that at all.
Right. And I can tell you that too, because like it does every year. I mean, over time, definitely made that much money and more, but it's not an every year thing. And it's not something that I was willing to look at as the answer or the goal.
Right.
Like obviously, I do have a number in mind that I want to make every year. And it does go up every year, as it should. But it's not like there's this overarching preoccupation with that. And for the woman that we were talking about a second ago, I love that she did that because what you're able to do when you do that is really test where you are and see how things feel. I know when I had a job, a regular corporate job, which paid all the bills and more. Like I remember one day, Jennifer, the manager in my department, and I had been working there for less than 6 months. She came in my office and she sat down. I was scared because she was having, I want to meet with you. I was like, oh my God, I'm fired already. I just started. She sat down, she had this booklet with her and she said, the partners and I at the law firm were going over the numbers for this year. And we realized that attorneys at your level are being paid a lot more than you're being paid. And I was like, okay.
All right, what's it mean?
So we're giving you a raise now, today, starting now, of $25,000 a year.
Wow.
Yes. And I kind of went, and honestly, I was all smiles. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. I that's really, I was gushing a little bit. It's kind of embarrassing how I was gushing. But let me tell you what happened when she left my office. After I came down from what I'm going to do with all the extra money, I thought to myself, now they really own me.
Exactly. You're always trading something for it.
I wasn't happy about it. I was like, this is such a blessing. How many people would it kill just to have the $25,000 by itself? But for me, what it signaled was I was already working really hard. I was already to the point where I didn't have time to even spend the money I was making, much less the extra. Extra. Is there any such thing as extra? But anyway. And I remember thinking, now they're going to expect to see me more. Now my billing sheets are going to have to be definitely, even more filled. And I began to think at that moment, like, wait a minute. And then I did the math. I multiplied my hourly rate times how many hours they expected me to bill. And I looked at my new salary and I was like, whoa, it was like $3 million that I was billing out every year. And my salary was under $200,000. So that's when I started to think, wait, my energy is so tied up here, and no one else left. Everybody, they all took their raises, but I can tell you, Jennifer, at the time, they were exhausted. And this was childbearing years for a lot of them. So they'd been up all night. They were crying because they had to leave their babies in daycare. And I just, different strokes for different folks. But I remember thinking the pressure, I was in Washington, D.C., the pressure to be in that lane, I had to resist it and decide what I wanted my lane to look like.
They make it very, they dangle the carrot and they present it in such a way that you feel like if you're not going after that, there's something wrong with you. Well, your story kind of reminded me of one of my favorite performers is Dave Chappelle, when he walked away from that $50 million a year contract. And I've heard him on numerous talk shows after that. And he said, well, what was I exchanging for that? $50 million a year is a lot, but you are giving up your life essentially for it. And you're absolutely correct. I'm happy. I wake up when I want to wake up. I wear a maxi dress for my, for my uniform. I I garden. I just do so many things that I wouldn't even have thought of doing 15 years ago, because I thought, I don't have time to do that. I've got to be like rush, 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 rush. And now it's, it's completely different, completely.
I'm so glad you mentioned Dave Chappelle, because his comedy shows are great. But you're right. I remember when he did that, and there was all this media about, he dropped off the face of the earth. He had a meltdown. He had a nervous breakdown. It was all negativity. And I'm so happy that, he had young children at the time.
Right.
And he still has young children, but not as young. So it was like I was able to take care of my kids, and he did all this on his own terms. And it's so amazing too. We all have a talent. Like, it may not be his talent, but we all have a talent that brings value to the world. And what he looked at was, I have a talent that I can bring to the world, but I'm going to do it on my terms.
Absolutely.
My talent, you can come over here and get it when I'm ready to give it to you. And it's not in a boastful way or a conceited way, but as you said, it was a selfish way. It was, I'm going to use my talent, the gifts that I've honed, the gifts that I have been given, and the gifts that I have created, and the talents that I have honed, and I'm going to use them in a way that works for me. And if they work for you, welcome. Right. Come on in.
Absolutely. It seemed like I thought the people that I admire, the people that have blazed their own path, and like Prince was another one who said, I'm not going to follow the whole, I guess the standard of way things do with artists. I'm going to carve my own path. Right. And, it takes a lot of respect and a lot of, cojones to do it that way. But I think at the end, all of us want to own our own time. I mean, that's our birthright. Our birthright is to have our own time and our freedom. And in order to do that, you have to shut a lot of stuff off that is influencing you. Yeah. And that includes friends and family who might not see your vision. I mean, we talked about that earlier. And I have, as we evolve and as we're trying to grow as just as humans, you change from the time you're 20 to the time you're 50. And a lot of times people that have been with you from your past still see you as that 20-year-old girl who didn't really know where she was going and don't really want to see you to the next phase. So over the last, over the last 3-4 years, I've been weeding my own garden of, ideas, people, places, things that no longer serve me. I kind of believe that those ideas are there for you and help you learn and grow, but then you kind of, you change. It doesn't mean you're better or less than, it just means that you're moving in a different direction. That's important.
It is. It's so important. And I think even more important for young people today is that freedom that you were talking about translating into time. Because I know, for example, when I was younger, I didn't have all the distractions that my children have. They're so distracted. When I was younger, I had some distractions, mostly cute guys. That's my distraction. But I wasn't seeing them on Instagram all day long. I had to go someplace to see them. I had to get dressed, put on some makeup, and quick effort. I had to go to the party or whatever and stay up late at night. But now I want to teach my children that, to value that freedom early on, because what you just talked about, carving out that special place, like your own lane, it's harder for them to do that than it was for us. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, because part of being a lifestyle CEO is having that freedom, but you have to be really intentional about it. It is not going to drop in your lap.
No way. In fact, I told you earlier that my new title was glamour hostess. Now, what the hell is that? I don't know. I just kind of made it up, but it sounded fun. It sounded funny. And I thought, wow. One of my favorite movies of all time was Auntie Mame. I don't know if you remember. It's a real old one, but if those of you that are watching, I would encourage you to watch it, because she was the crazy aunt that reinvented herself every 6 months. And that movie made such an impression on me, because she would redo her apartment, she'd redo her clothing, because she just got bored with it. And I saw it when I was in my early 20s, and I thought, that's who I want to be when I get older. That's who I want to be. And I think it's important when you're picking role models that you're picking role models that have done or are doing what you are doing. Very rarely are my role models my own age, because I kind of feel like, well, let me put it, for example, this way. I would never take this is just me. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I would never take like fitness or diet advice from somebody who had not been where I had been my size. I wouldn't, because they don't understand the mentality and the psychology of what it means to be this size. And it's the same thing like with like as we navigate menopause, we navigate getting older as women. I'm not looking to a 25-year-old to tell me about anti-aging. I'm looking to a woman who's 60 and I can't take my eyes off of her. And I'm not necessarily meaning like physically, I just mean, what is that sparkle that you have? What is that, that happiness that you have inside of you? And how can I learn from you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so great. That sounds like a wonderful movie, to reinvent yourself every 6 months.
Yes.
And in business, you almost have to do that in some respects. I mean, you may have the same products year after year after year, but how you sell them has to change. Mm-hmm. How you market them has to change. How you advertise them has to change, because if you're using technology, it changes. Mm-hmm. And so being able to flex and have the space to flex, I think that's a lot of what I want to encourage people to do, is to not have so much going on in your business that you can't think, that you can't carve out the space to just think about what you're creating. I've worked with so many people, Jennifer, who have said, I have this business, I have this store, or I have this thing, and like, what have I created? Like, I have no life anymore. How did that happen? How did that happen? Well, it happened because every single moment was filled with something. You're not giving yourself, your heart and your mind and your soul a real
downtime is really important. There's, you mentioned every time you can't flip through your not Instagram, you can't flip through your Facebook without seeing something to buy, like a course, or, buy this and you'll be successful. And it kind of reminded me of a mentor that I followed. I didn't know him personally, but he was a marketing genius. And he said, I sell a $5,000 program that you can come and sit with me round table. And I sell a $9.50 book. And everything you need to know is in this $9.50 book. Period. And it made a huge impression on me, because he said that people that have success have large libraries. People that did not have success have large TVs. And I'm sure you've heard of that saying before. Yes. And it just means that everything you need to know is out there. It's just incredible. We live in an incredible time where I call it YouTube University or Udemy or Teachable. Every weekend I try and, learn something new. But at the end of the day, you have to apply it. So you kind of take what works from here and here and here, and you just kind of make it your own. You don't have to follow the exact path that somebody did to be successful like they are. You can carve your own path, blaze your own path.
Well, and Jennifer, people say it's scary to apply it. Like, it's scary not to know what's going to happen next. Like I know you mentioned you started Glamorous Paradise. You didn't really know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. You started, you had $10,000, but buy $10,000 in a couple of months, right? That's not what made you successful. What do you say to people who are, okay, I'm starting, but I'm afraid it's not going to work? Like, some people, it's very difficult for them to get over that hurdle of it's not going to work. So they don't put their all into it. They don't focus. They don't, carve out the space to be able to actually execute, because they're afraid it's not going to work.
I'm a real big believer in your mindset. You have to believe that something will work. And here's how I thought about it. If it didn't work, I'm talking about Celtic complexion. I thought to myself, because, once somebody writes you the check, then you have no more excuses, right? You have to do it. And I thought, well, you know what, if it doesn't work, I can always go back to working in the spa. I can always go back to doing makeup behind the counter. There is no worst case scenario. If you fail at something, you have learned from it. Every single failure, and I've had many failures, not just within business, but with relationships, and I don't regret any of them, because I learned something. It's only a failure if you don't learn something. So you know what? If this particular venture doesn't work, then you go back to square one and you say, okay, well, what will work? And you try other things. What to me is, for me anyway, I should say, the idea of working for the man for the rest of my life was more scary than me failing at a skincare business. It terrified me, because I'd seen, my parents' friends, working till they get to be 65 and get the watch. And I thought, God, that is so not me. I don't want to do that. So I would be willing to take more risks. And I did. I would be willing to give up a lot more now than, to make up for it later, which, we should have a whole show about the poor years, because there were many of poor years. to get to what I have now. But you have to go through it. There's no such thing. I haven't witnessed it anyway, is where you come out with something today and tomorrow you're an instant success. It doesn't, I've never seen that in person.
It takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yes.
And you know, what's amazing too about the world we live in now is that if you love your job, you can still love your job and then you can start a business on the side.
Yes.
And it's not that hard to do that today. So,
absolutely.
you know, again, you're the captain of your ship. Like the lifestyle CEO life that you have is one that's defined by you. That's why you're the CEO of your life and your business. And that's what we're so totally all about here. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining. And Kelsey,
you're welcome.
You guys. And by the way, let's see those glasses up close.
Oh.
Let's have a look.
I made these glasses, guys.
Look, she put the blinks.
I put the bling on them. I can teach you how to do that if you come stay with us at Glamper's Paradise. But one of the books that I want to mention is called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And this talks about getting in the mindset and programming your cells to kind of do whatever it is that you say that you want them to do, basically. So you wake up, you're going to have a good day, you put it in your mind, and it sounds very simplistic, but I am hard-carrying proof that that is the truth. So.
Well, I completely agree with you, and it's not perfect, and it's like I think it was Sheryl Sandberg who said, or maybe it wasn't her, but I think it was in her book, Lean In. Forgive me, whoever said it if it wasn't her, but she said something like, you know, when you're building your career, or in our case, your businesses, it's not a ladder anymore. It's like a jungle gym.
Right. Absolutely. I love that.
We're here, we're sliding, we're swinging.
Absolutely.
We got a friend over here, then we got a friend that we lose a friend over there because they get tired of playing. We're on the merry-go-round, we're falling off, we're dizzy.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
It is, and it's what makes it fun and exciting. And when you have people in your sphere who think like you and who are willing to take the chance and fall off the merry-go-round and go, oh, whoops, let me just dust myself off and get back
do it
on.
again.
It's
Definitely.
just that much more fun, and that's what we want you to have here. And that's why I bring people like Jennifer, my first guest. Like, is she not fun? Like, fun. Everyone, fun, hashtag fun. So much
that was my word of the year, Donna, was play this year.
Oh, well then, and didn't I just show up at just the right time?
Exactly.
I feel like I'm playing with you right now. So if I come to Glamper's Paradise, can we make those glasses?
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Can I use my
glasses?
Yeah.
Bring your own glasses. I have tons of glitter, rhinestones.
Oh my gosh. By the way, you guys, listen. Okay, go check out Celtic Complexion. Okay, check it out. I don't care what kind of skin you have. I have oily skin and I love this cream. Go check it out. And also check out Glamper's Paradise on Instagram. I guarantee, get some tea first. Let me just tell you, because you are not just going to look at one picture and leave. You're not just going to watch one video and leave. You're going to want to stay. So get a cup of tea, put on your rhinestone glasses, and move into the experience, because that's exactly what it is. It's so much fun. Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I had a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody.
It was fun. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Lifestyle CEO Show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.